Okay, so right now I'm going to make mango chutney, and this is one of my favorite condiments. I love this recipe. To make it, I have all the ingredients set out here. We need one mango. I bought 2 mangoes just in case. We need about 1.5 cups of mango chunks and 1/4 cup of red pepper, 1/4 cup of pineapple, 1/4 cup of red onion, 1/4 cup of raisins, a tablespoon of cilantro, 1/4 cup of agave, 1/2 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, 1/2 inch of, which is about 1/2 tablespoon of ginger, and the spices: 1 garlic clove, 1/2 teaspoon of garam masala, 1/4 teaspoon of chili and of mustard and of salt, and just a dash of cayenne. And that's it. We're going to chop everything up, chop up our mangoes and red pepper and our red onion and pineapple really small, and cilantro, and mix everything in a bowl together, and it's going to be delicious. Okay, so now I'm just going to get started preparing my vegetables and chopping these up, and we can reconvene in a few minutes after I've got them all prepared. Okay, we're back from getting everything prepared, chopped up, and ready to go. The mangoes I've chopped up quite small because they're not going to go into the food processor. They're just going to be hand chopped. And everything else I'm going to put in the processor because I have it here and it's a lot easier. If you don't have a food processor, you can just make sure you chop up everything really as small as possible, and it'll be fine. But since we have this, we're going to utilize it and make our life a lot easier. So we're going to put in everything except the mango, the red pepper, the pineapple, and the onion to start. And everything else is going to get processed quite well together. And if you don't have a food processor, the raisins won't get processed, but they will get kind of plump in your chutney, and you can use them. You can have it just like that. So I chopped up lightly the cilantro, and I chopped up a little bit the ginger and the garlic. I'm always, very, very rarely when you use a food processor, but once in a while, you'll have a chunk of something left. I always chop the garlic and the ginger a little bit just to make sure that I don't get big chunks in it. Usually that never happens, very, very rarely, but especially since I work in a restaurant, you really don't want somebody getting a chunk of garlic. So I chop it a little bit just as a precaution, but slim chance that'll happen. So, and I chopped up the cilantro. I just took off the big stems, and the rest of it just goes in. Full leaves are fine because it will get processed. Now we want 1/4 cup of agave. Make sure when you buy agave that it says raw on the label, because not all agave is raw. A 1/2 tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, which is actually 1.5 teaspoons, since there's 3 teaspoons. Whoops, it's a little over, so just do that. There's 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. 1/2 teaspoon of the garam masala. And a garam masala is actually a blend of spices. There's usually 5 or 6 different spices in it, and there's different blends. So when you find one you like, stick to it. But most of them are pretty safe. 1/4 teaspoon of chili and of mustard powder. Chili powder, also a blend of spices. And mustard powder, just ground mustard seeds. 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a small dash of cayenne. And that's it. We're going to process this together. I'm just going to use the pulse because it's just going to get processed just a little bit, just to break up the raisins and cilantro mainly. That's it. I'm going to get a spatula and scrape it down. And then I'm going to slowly add the other vegetables. The only one that's not going to go in here is the mango. But I'm going to put the onion in next because I want it a little bit more broken down. Now most of these, take this off to show you, most of the raisins, they're kind of half broken up. There's still quite a few whole ones in there. The red onion, you can use red onion or just regular sweet onion. Yes. Pulse chop it a bit, scrape it down, and then pulse chop it again a little bit. I don't want it completely as small as I'm going to have it at the end because I'm still going to process the pineapple and red pepper in with it. Just a little bit. This is a very big processor for a little recipe. Actually, might work better on this in a home size food processor. The red pepper and the pineapple goes in, so now everything is in here except for the mango. Again, we're going to pulse chop it. Just until you have very small chunks of everything. You want to scrape down the side a few times. I had already chopped up the red pepper and pineapple. Very small. I love the color of this. Red pepper, that's really vibrant. Okay, and that is done. Now we have our chopped mango, and we're going to add the rest of the ingredients right into the bowl with it and mix it all together. Take the S blade out. Doesn't all this. This is great with samosas. And one thing I love doing with it is putting it on crackers, layering it with a raw hummus or some cashew cheese and mango chutney, and sometimes we put some olive tapenade or salsa and just get a bunch of dips and some crackers together, and it's really delicious all put together. This is it. Yeah, of course we need to taste it, but we know it's going to be delicious. There's no way it can't be with this recipe. Mango chutney. It's delicious right after it's made, and it'll just keep getting better for the next day, but it's perfect right now. It's really delicious, and I hope you enjoy it.